a warrior, a survivor, and it's all because of God. She's a teacher and a healer, and it's all because of God. She's sassy, full of fire, with a heart that's made of gold. She will help you build your body, and it's so good for your soul.
Hey everybody, welcome to Life Unleashed with TLC, your host Traci Lynn Cowan. Today is all about empowerment. Today is about protection, safety, and empowering others. I really am honored to have a special person here today who I can also call my friend, and he's been working in the industry of keeping people safe and with his organization for over 40 years. You won't know it by the look of him, but it's been 40 years. And keeping people safe, he's got a great organization called Get Safe. He is a reserve lieutenant with the Orange County Sheriff Department, and he is doing phenomenal things. I'm so proud of everything that he's doing, and I'm honored to have you here today. Welcome to the show, Stuart.
Getting choked up. Thank you very much, and thank you for reading what I asked you to read about my background.
I'm like, I hope I got it right.
Yeah, you could have made it a little more dramatic, but that's okay. I appreciate it.
I can still, we still have time. We've got time here.
Okay, good.
We got your book here too, which we're diving into, so don't worry.
The pages are all blank in there, but yeah, there's a book there.
You can color in it if you want. So,
thanks for having me for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You've done so many remarkable things, and I want to talk today about safety, empowering, and just what you're doing in the communities. I mean, all around. And Get Safe, the organization, is phenomenal. I know that you teach self-defense, self-protection. You're working with domestic violence, survivors, everything like that. Yeah. And so I want to talk about what you're doing and what you're doing in the communities now.
We were just saying this today. I am a shotgun approach when it comes to safety, because I just want to help everyone. Right. So we hear a need, we go for it. And so, right now our agency is pretty complicated in a way of just doing many things. So we do work with survivors of violent crime, domestic violence, human trafficking, sexual assault. So we have recovery classes for that. We work with persons with developmental disabilities, which is the highest risk of victimization.
Right.
So that's Down syndrome and autism and many of those other afflictions. And then we're also doing workplace safety, because we're trying to help agencies be safer out there. And a lot of times they're not offering as much training. So we're pushing the envelope a little bit on that kind of training, because they need it. And then, we do bully prevention. So anything safety related, I was like, we can do that, which drives the people at my office crazy, because we're trying to stay on track. And then, you want to do that now? Okay. But there's just, I don't know. I just have like you, we're in this industry for a reason. We want to make a difference. And, only thing, and like you mentioned, the Sheriff's Department, I do that because I feel like I'm helping there too. And I feel like it's been a long time, but we've been doing, one of the things I remember doing is mostly carrying a kid during the fair who dehydrated, and those are the times you want to be there for someone. And so that's it's a need. Like I said, I can't say it's all altruistic, because we all get to feel good about helping too, right? Yeah. And that's where. So that's my my vibe. No Ferrari, but I get to help people.
I love that. And you know what? When you get to help people at the level that you are, it doesn't matter if there's a Ferrari or not. And sorta. I mean, it's kind of nice to have it as well. It'd be nice. I've been in, the industry for a while now, and nearly not as long as you. It is so rewarding, and it's just so empowering to be able to keep people safe, but educate people as well.
Yes.
And that's the part I love about it. Can you walk us through what it would be like to have a workshop for the the people that have disabilities, so we can teach them how to protect themselves and keep safe?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I tell people all our training is very interactive. It's built on humor in a sense, because we know how to take the highs. Because when you hit the lows, it's hard, right? So our ultimate job is to empower, not disempower. Right. And so we do that with everyone. And individuals with disabilities, we make it fun and make it interactive, but we make it repetitive.
Okay.
And I remember when I first was trying to bust into teaching them, the individuals, and then a lot of the care providers, like, you can't hold their attention. There's no way they can. And it wasn't very nice of the way they were describing them, but we can, because we make it fun. And we, like I said, but the ultimate goal is to leave with something, not a ton of stuff. And that's where our agency is using safety simplified. Yeah. Because I don't believe, listen, I've been around a long time, like you said, and you kind of age shamed me earlier because you said you haven't been here as long as I, which means I'm much older than you.
He looks great for 95, obviously.
95 next week. Can't wait. Big party at the
I always bug everyone about their age. It doesn't matter if they're young or middle-aged or whatever. It's
I young shame people all the time. Like,
it's only because, I feel bad about myself.
No.
I'm kidding.
But yeah, it's, it's just keeping everything simple because I've been in trainings for years because I feel like education is super important, right? You can always, even if you take a 4-hour class and you get 2 minutes out of it, it's good. But there's so many levels of, how the nervous system works and what happens and fight and all that stuff. But I try and keep it very simple because the regular civilian just wants to learn. And then you also look at physical abilities, right? And whether it's developmental disabilities or it's workplace, our abilities are different. Like you train all the time. Obviously, you're super fit.
Thank you.
I train, once a year just to make sure I maintain pain because that's all they let me out of the home for. But yeah, so those things are important, right? So you got to read your audience. You got to know what's going on. But the ultimate thing I always say, whenever I teach a safety and self-defense class, 95% is the situational awareness stuff, environmental awareness, 5% is the physical because, it's perishable skills. So
that is for sure.
Ultimately, you scream, yell, whatever. That's what you knew to come in, but you didn't have maybe the permission to say, yeah, I can do that, create a scene. So that's how we train. So in a day of it is you come in, we talk about safety. It could be as simple as the buddy system. It could be as simple as 911. Teach some just little physical moves so they get to use their voice. They get to use their body if they don't have a voice, which a lot of them aren't, nonverbal, and how to do physical without movements whether they have a cane, wheelchair, we work around that and we adapt everything to it.
Exactly.
I remember my biggest aha moment. Well, one of the biggest. We have a few because I'm, again, old. But the one was, I remember teaching a lady with cerebral palsy. And so the balance is very off.
Yes.
And I remember kept pushing them into the couch. And then I kept thinking, Adult Protective Service sees this, going to jail. But what we were teaching was counterbalancing. So her balance wasn't good, but she could counterbalance off her attacker by grabbing the attacker, balancing, and then it was able to have, because one side worked pretty well, some striking. And I just saw their face when they did it. It was just this smile, almost a freedom of like, I can do something. And that was, I think roughly 800 years ago when I did that, but it still sticks with me. And, I have a few of those that I really remember. But anyway.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I also was very excited to have you on the show as well. As a female teaching self-defense and self-protection, sometimes, it's a lot of people do not want to learn from a female, especially maybe if they're a male, and as well as, we have different knowledge and skill sets and things like that. So I wanted to bring you on to share with people because there's a lot going on in the world right now. We're not going into any politics, so just don't worry right there. We'll stop you right there. But what I want to talk about is what is situational awareness and how can we just give some pointers to people out there that maybe haven't ever had a self-defense class and don't know even what situational awareness means. Yeah. I mean, what is the buddy system? Can we break those two down and just share with people?
I don't remember. No. Yeah. Well, first, let
me hanging out.
Let me go back to what you were saying about females trainers.
Right.
Because I'm a male too. And I'm a male in, at times, a very highly populated female world, right? So I've worked tremendous amount. I've worked with thousands of survivors of violent crime.
Right.
And a lot of them, 90% of them are females. I've worked with males for sure. But
I love that.
So I remember being on the hotline call because I was a hotline with Waymakers now. Before I used to do the volunteer hotline, and the lady was assaulted, and I get on the phone. She goes, "You're a guy." I go, "I am a guy," and then we worked through it, right? Because a lot of times when we would do these emergency shelters, I'd walk in and I reminded every person, because we would do an eval prior of their attacker. Doesn't matter if their attacker was 4'1", blonde hair, 5'6", red hair. I reminded them, But because of the connection we're building, right? So, it's our little another saying, we have communication and connection equals their safety. So we would communicate, they would connect. And I usually could get them within a half hour because we relaxed it, joked with them. But again, I would walk in and a lot of them would want a female. Why are you male and you're here? But also part of what makes both of us needed is that in the recovery journey, it's 95% of the recovery part is female. So if you don't have any males involved, but you also need a female, like I like co-training with females, strong females. So they see that part as well as, part of me and part of my knowledge base that I can bring in.
Right. So. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I like to just point attention to that because there are some times where I will do seminars and I can tell the guys as soon as I walk in, they're kind of like, oh, here we go. We got a chick, I can see it, read them and they're like, oh, and then we get into it. We build the rapport and then they understand my background and where I've come from and things like that. And I like to have obviously my male partner as well that trains with me. And one of my guys that trains with me is pretty funny, Eric. He's like, well, I'm just here so she can kick my ass today. That's all I'm here for. And I really have no skills other than that.
Well, I would say they needed a pair of groin to kick. And that's why I'm here. So a pair of male genitalia to kick. Because I always pick out guys in the group. Like, oh, when we do a group when it's like 70% women and male, oh, you got a couple males, so we're going to be kicking your groins today, sir. But
welcome. You're like, Ken, this is what you're here for.
Your legs and bite down on this. But
it's really not that bad. You guys should definitely take classes with both of us.
Well, wear a cup though.
Yes, definitely wear a cup and probably some other things.
But yeah, no, it's like I said, it's whatever audience. You never know, right?
That's
when you walk in, and I remember I was presenting at a women's conference in Austin, Texas, and it was pretty well driven with music too. And so this guy got on he got on, I think, after me. No, he got on before me. And he was really good guitar player, really good singer. And then I got up after and worked. And after he goes, oh God, it must be so hard what you do. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, because you got to make that connection with the audience. I just get up there and sing and they know my songs, everything's good. But it was kind of interesting. And also the fact that people go, you were presenting at a women's conference? And I go, yeah, go figure. But I mean, it worked out fine because I feel like you can give, right? A lot of times what I give is the male perspective.
Right.
And I used to go into groups for females like teens and the therapist was a female. She'd probably have me come in because a lot of times this guy said if I did this for him, he would be my boyfriend, whether it's sexual or it's a picture or something. And, I'm the guy walking in there, it ain't true, even though it's not true, but hearing from a male's perspective helps too.
Yeah, it definitely does. I like that balance of both male and female. So, and then going back to the situational awareness.
Yes.
So what are some of the points and key points for our viewers and listeners and also people that have not had any type of training at all? I mean, we're talking the bare basic because I wanted you to be able to, as a man, say how important this is because I drive this home all the time. It's like situational awareness, simple things like not being on your phone and being distracted by your phone and just being aware of your surroundings and at all times, driving, like everything, and people, I don't think people realize how important, because that is number one, especially right now with, the violent crimes going on and things like that all around us.
It's a lot going on. So I will give you our copywritten I'm Safer.
Yeah, I like it.
So it's I'm is integrated mindset. So you walk out there and you leave your house. You have to switch your mindset, right? We have warrior levels or we have going out to pick up the newspaper. Well, people don't do that anymore or get a cup of coffee, but you want to be aware right now, right? You're left your comfort of your home. So now our mindset needs to change. And then we scan. We start looking for things, right? We scan. Oh, there's a person over there. They look fine. So that's my assessment. Then I forecast, well, it's okay for me to walk by them. My execution is that. But then it's safer, and then you repeat it all the time. So when you're driving down the road, right, and you see a car going up, crossing boundaries all the time, what do you think, right? I'm driving behind them. I'm thinking that person's drinking, texting, hitting their kid, whatever. They're doing something, but no one's driving, right? So that's my scan. My assessment is they're been doing something dangerous. My forecast, if I go next to them, what could happen? They can hit me, right? So my execution is to pull back. And then I repeat it again. If they get really bad, then I'm going to call 911. Right. That's everyday life, right? You and I are talking, everything's fine, right? And all of a sudden I do a Tom Cruise and jump on the couch and start yelling, hey, this is amazing. All of a sudden you're going from my scan first this was nice, assessing he seems pretty normal. My forecast, we'll keep doing this. My execution is we'll stay here. Repeat, he's jumping on the couch. You're going to tell Pete, call 911, what's going on here, or you're going to throat punch me, but those things change. But it's not
necessarily in that order as well.
Whatever order you want to do. But that's how quickly our behavior changes. And that's what I want people to do. Because yes, we love training, but most people can't put that time in. I want them to. I always say, get into a class, do something that you can get in a workout. It helps. But really is if you're walking across the street, I'm in my safer mindset. So I'm looking both ways, and we have a crosswalk safety video because so many people get hurt in the crosswalk because they feel like it's their right away. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And they feel safe because they just feel like
those two painted lines are totally going to save, like it's a safe invisible shield.
They're like the DMV says you're supposed to stop and I'm supposed to walk. So
and
it's
I'm
safe.
Allowed to text while I'm walking. I'm allowed to walk with my baby in front of me while I'm texting. Yeah. All those things. So we had a video to make sure like you have to look left, you have to look right, you have to look left again. Yes. And you don't look at the front car only, you look at the cars behind it. Because we've had an incident where a child was severely hurt because the person behind the car that stopped wasn't paying attention and pushed the car into the crosswalk. Right. So those are the things that everything we do now, right? You go to the movies, right? What do? We know where the exit is. We face the exit and we look around what's going on. We go to a restaurant, right? What's the number one rule? You'll kind of want to face the door, at least have someone in your party face the door. That's our comfort zone. You're having security experts. I know that's what they're going to teach, because you need to be aware of everything. And that's all I want. I just want everyone to heighten their awareness so they're looking. And that is that, right? That situational aware, what is possible? I see a group over there. They seem okay, but if I can take a different route, that's why I'm safer every time I do that. And then when you go home, what does your integrated mindset say? Netflix and pizza, right? You shut that door and now you're safer. You can change up a little bit, but it's always looking, right? And, like I know you do executive protection, so you're always watching everything. And I just remember, I use a story a lot, but I remember a gentleman, he's a boxing coach, and he wanted to meet with me about security. And I said, okay, we talked. We had coffee in the back of the coffee place, and we left the coffee place. And I go, okay, what'd you see? He goes, well, I saw you. Oh, okay, geez. What else did you see? And I go, did you see the two guys in the corner that were typing and had hoodies on? Did you see the female over there eating a biscuit? Did you see this and this and this? That's how you have to watch stuff. It's almost like when you see those shows that boom, 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 I scan it. I'm not walking around like I'm so scared. I'm walking around like I just want to see everything. And that's, and so I have a funny story because I always tell people when I talk about scanning and assessing, I said, generally once or twice a week, I tell someone their zipper's down because I've scanned it and it's embarrassing. And then I had a female food server. I was getting breakfast and she walked up and I go, oh no, her zipper's down and open. And I wanted to say something and she came back and I go, okay, this is going to sound terrible from an old guy, but your zipper's open and I just want to let you know, oh my God, thank you so much. Right. And so the funny part of that, I had just got done teaching probably 100 or 200 people and telling them those stories and then I do that. And I was at Costco like 2 weeks ago and the lady comes up and she goes, hey, your zipper's down. I go, what? I go, this is amazing. Thank you so much. She goes, oh, I didn't want to embarrass you. I go, no, I have been teaching this for the last, 4 or 5 weeks. And it was so great.
She probably thought you were also weird because you're like, this is awesome. You're like,
thank you so much. And it's another point of my story. I can bring that in. So anyway, so the situational is awareness, watching who's in front of you, thinking, realizing things change. And then, again, I work with, individuals have been assaulted many times on their dates and how to read behaviors, how to read assaultive behavior, or how to read sexual behaviors. Like, like in a role play, you and I were just talking, having coffee the first time, and I kept putting my hand on your leg or getting closer. Right. I'm testing the waters, moving up the ladder, that's right? So you need to set your boundaries, and it's hard for people. I get that. I have a hard time with it. I mean, I remember I always teach people, keep your wallet in your pocket. I was getting a juice and I had my wallet on the table for some dumb reason. And this couple sits down and I'm going, oh my God. I should take it, but I'm so embarrassed. I don't want to make them feel bad, and I teach this, and that's, so at times, not all of us can be as assertive as we want.
right.
We get, but the real right thing to do is put your wallet in your pocket and say hi to them and whatever, but.
Yeah, I know we're always learning, and not necessarily does it have to be, as you were saying too, a victim, like a violent crime. It's safety as we think, as simple as going into an intersection or in our vehicle stopped at a light and making sure no one's hitting us from behind. And, so that's the biggest thing for me. I see so many things because obviously working in this industry and some days I'm just like, I wish I didn't see that. I wish I didn't see that. And I also wish I didn't see that.
Can I unsee that too?
So tell me how was Get Safe formulated? Like was there something that happened in your life where you were just like, this is what I need to do and I'm going to be a protector?
Yes. And I only share usually it was funny, I had a conversation prior to this thinking, hey, but I usually share in survivor class. So when I was a kid, I had an incident. I was going to get ice cream, and me and my buddy I think we were in 5th grade, and we're riding our bikes, which was at that time very safe, but a lot of open areas like dirt lots. And I saw across the street these big kind of teenagers, two males, one female, run across. As we were riding, they grabbed us, grabbed our bikes up there, and put us in a corner. And I saw the gas station. That's why part of me, when I ever teach that, leave your friend to go get help if it's there. But I saw the gas. I knew I could probably run, but my friend was crying and it was sad. So it turned into punching, and then they actually had pull our pants down and manipulate each other, which we felt like we just kind of faked it. Like it's kind of cloudy because a long time ago. But so I had always thought I was just gonna make a lot of money and smoke cigars and light them with $100 bills, but it turned into a fight. Either you're a protector or you're a perpetrator or just a lamb kind of sort of thing. So I from then on, karate, wrestling, collegiate wrestling, martial arts, karate, blah, blah, judo, whatever you name it. So I became overly that protector. And then everything I did from then on was protect aspect. And I think part of it was built in, but the other part is I've always watched for bully and things. And so that created, that passion we were talking today about our kids training, I want, listen, I think it molded me, it shaped me. I think I may have lived selfish life, maybe, I don't know. But, so I don't regret the life I'm in, but it did, it impacts you. It makes you think, and it takes away some of the freedoms you had. That's why the book here, it was, from fear to freedom, but we just retitled it and rebranded a little bit, just make it simple.
It looks great. You know what? I thank you, first of all, for sharing your story and being able to be open and express that. You and I have had conversations before in regards to our past and things like that. And obviously we both know that people get into this industry usually for a reason. And mine was also because being a survivor of domestic violence and childhood abuse and neglect and just, that was my life. I didn't know anything else. I thought that was normal. I thought that people beat each other. I thought that people screamed and yelled and swore and hit each other and did all these things. And there was no boundaries and I never had any guidelines growing up. So for me, I see things now. And even with kids, it's just like, I can't even sit at the pool and relax because I just watch parents and, and it sometimes hurts my heart so much because I want to just protect them and pick them up and,
That is abducting though.
Yeah.
That's abduction.
I would not abduct, yes.
I want to take them in my van.
Just take them and then just cuddle them.
Here, ma'am, could you put my kid down? And
they're like, stay away from my child, ma'am.
I'm just protecting all 8 of them that I put in my car. No, but I am.
I don't think I could fit 8 in my car anyway, and I would never do that.
You 2 have to leave. I like these 6 better.
I have such a heart. My compassion is always like if a kid cries, I it triggers me to remember when I was a little girl and I'd be crying by myself and my parents would be nowhere to be found and I was literally like left alone. So things pop into my head and it's kind of like a hollow space. Like you just, you know how you said you kind of, you know, goes back to these triggers and these memories. And so, and I'm like, oh, please just be good to your kid or don't hurt your dog or, you know, I'm just hypersensitive.
No, and that's what makes you good at what you do, right? And, you know, all it's just as long as we have it in a controlled manner, because I've worked with people who have used their trainings for therapy, and that's not where you bring it in. I usually bring mine up just to show, hey, okay, I'm 6'3" and a quarter. No, but and
I thought you were 6'4". Come on.
All right, we'll go. No, then we have, you know, a black belt and blah blah blah, and a sheriff and a license to carry, but I have a reason why I'm here, you know, because they look at you like, what am I going to learn from you? And, you know, but I can teach, because I always thought it was a weird thing. I always kept, maybe because I blocked things out, I go, oh, I'm so good at this, connecting with survivors. I don't even know why. And I forgot, because I was, you know, definitely a survivor, and I felt that loss of freedom and that fear for that moment as a kid, you know, and a kid, it's, you know, it's like anyone else, it's hard to push through, but it does make us better at our job for sure. And, you know, because I'm kind of in a weird position in a sense, because I ride the line, both civilian and law enforcement. And so when I teach individuals, you know, I tell them, I go, you know, I understand what you're going through, because I am civilian. And then I've done the law enforcement or doing the law enforcement aspect. It's just being able to teach both sides of it. But so anyway, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, because I see that and it's hard to navigate out, but and we work with a lot of individuals who have pushed themselves through stuff and have become very good at what they do. And, you know, that's, so you look back like, okay, was this meant to be? This is my path? Because I tried to get out of this stuff a long time ago. I kept going, I'll do something else. There's something, you know, and I got a buddy who's a commercial real estate agent, and he wanted me to go with him and work with him. And I go, oh no, I'm going to do this get safe thing. And part of me is like, he's doing pretty good. But the other part was, when I tried to bounce out of it, I had taken a couple paths. It just pushed me right back in. So whether it's divine intervention or whatever you call it, whoever pushes you. But I can remember like 3 or 4 times that I was on this track to do something else, and it just, bam, knocked me in.
I can totally relate to that. I believe that. And I always tell people, I think I was in the military in my past life, because I love tactical training. I love training. And I feel when I'm training, it's you know, I pull in every experience and then I'm able to really help the masses at that point, because it's like, this scenario could happen, this could happen, this could happen. And people are like, how do you know all this stuff? And I was like, well, I've been through most of it. But and then the other stuff, it's obviously, you know, you do the training and everything like that. So it's nice to be able to really empower and help others and really feel like they are feeling like they can be safe.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, you have lived experience and training experience, right? So there's no replacement for that, right? I mean, that's where it's funny, when we were teaching martial arts, that when I was doing martial arts, the 3 of us worked security, right? That's where I kind of grew up in doing security. In a sense, I worked bars, then I worked events, then did protection. And that's where I learned a lot of this development for Get Safe, was from de-escalation, because when you're an 18-year-old skinny wrestler at college, and it's much easier to talk someone down than tussle with someone much bigger than you. I mean, at that time, everybody had a cauliflower ear and everything, so it was a little easier. But it teaches you that aspect. So that's when we would teach people, it's like, oh man, you know, they don't really know, you know, what it's like to be in a bar fight. What is it like? And the same with law enforcement, right? A lot of these guys are just trained, and it takes a couple incidents to click it in, so you really kind of understand it. So that's what you bring, is that, you know, you had that fear, you had that isolation, you had all those things that you bring into this, you know, and abuse, and it's physical abuse, which is not fun at all. But so that's, again, what helps us do better at stuff. So.
Yeah, I do believe that we are, you know, the divine intervention, whatever people want to call it, we call it something different, everybody. And I believe that God has a path for us, and He, you know, there's a reason for everything. And I listen to I believe that, like spirit and God tells me like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And now I've kind of turned things around and doing the protection as well as doing the healing and the wellness. And I feel really good about that. And so, it's just about healing of body, mind, and spirit. So if we have a nervous system that's still completely unattached and just, haywire, obviously it's going to be hard for people to recover and rehabilitate from any kind of violent experience that they've had or assault. So let's talk about your book a little bit. So let's see. Is it Blank Space? I haven't read it because he just gave it to me and I'm getting a signed copy.
Trust me, it's an easy read because
I'm excited. So we're talking Get Safe with Stuart Haskin and simple safety tips for you and your family. So I like this is interactive. So you and your family. So it could be teaching them how to.
When you leave, right? You keep your house with the lights on. Mean, nowadays mail isn't as much, but you can keep your mail at the post office. It's make sure things around, not advertising where I'm gone. Nowadays with social media, everyone's look at me, I'm going to Hawaii, me and my family. No one's going to be home for 2 weeks. The key's underneath the door. You can grab it and you go in and get whatever you want. But, being aware. And so this was created really as a very simplified book because there was another book out there who was kind of my nemesis, but he wrote a book, but it was Friends with Oprah, who you know. But people would say, "Oh, I love that book." And I go, "Did you read it?" No. I read one page. Yeah. I wanted something that was simple to read. You could pick up anywhere in one chapter. It's not dependent on anything else. So you just go, "Oh, there's some safety tips here," whether it's the buddy steps and travel safety, some dating safety.
I just flipped to that, which I really love. I love that approach. It's interesting. I did flip to that. Yeah. Having healthy long-term relationships. Yep. So this is great, especially coming from a man, because I believe this is so important to have that perspective of a, man sharing this too. Is the person listening to me? Does this person treat me and my families and others well? Because those are the red flags. And I talk about it all the time. I mean, I have a shield for some of the red flags, and I still don't pick up on all of them. And I'm open to admit that because I'm still learning.
I think I can help you.
Okay. Look
for yellow flags to match your background. Yellow flags are big, right? A yellow flag is what? I'm here and, hey, oh my God, it's so great being with you. And I'm super attentive to you. And then the waiter comes up, hey, I'm talking right now. Right away, you see the way they treated them. Right now, you're my world, but that movement will just eventually shift over to you. People have to look for, or like someone, there's a homeless guy, I hate those guys. Or there's a dog, I want to try to run him over. I know those are outlandish examples, but the yellow flags is what we want to see potentially before it gets there. Now, it has happened to people in my classes that they get married, the next day, their new husband punches them in the face. Yeah. That's a gigantic red flag, right? Were there yellow flags prior? I don't know. And this is not victim blaming. This is just saying if we can look at some of the yellow flags, then we see their behavior. How do they treat others? Are they nice to other people? Are they kind to other people? That's what do they treat them how you want to be treated? Treated, or how you want your mom to be treated. Those are the things that are really, you can see how they do. Do they hold the door open for anyone, not just you, and push the old person out of the way? I got to go with my day. Sorry. Little elbow. Yes. You're in my way.
We don't recommend that. We're just making a joke.
But there are people there that just hold it for you because they're trying to impress you or whoever. Our thing is how they are treated. Those are indicators. Are also just how you indicate when you're with. Do they listen to you? Do they overtalk you? Do they top your story? Oh, Traci, you did this protection? Well, I did this protection. It's like
competitive nature, which I've dealt with a lot, unfortunately.
It's not valuing. That's an insecurity. They got to show that they're a strong male or female. Well, this happens with males and females. So those are the things you want to look for when you're talking. That's because ultimately, I know you would like someone to watch the door, but if they're kind and nice, maybe a little clueless, you can work on that other part. It's that internal, that
so true.
How deep their values are. That's what you want. That's will make a better friendship and whatever happens. So
I love that too. And the one thing I find about healthy relationships and safety as well is that people will tell you who they are. People tell you who they are, what they're about.
Yeah.
Even just in relationships or friendships or business relationships as well. So how do we get your book? Is this on Amazon or?
Yes, I believe our producer, Pete, will put it on the Amazon, whatever link that is, because I have no idea. It is on Amazon, and part of the proceeds go to survivor training.
Oh,
and
I love that.
if you're interested, great. We also do the trainings. Are we wrapping up now? Is that what we're doing?
No, we're not actually.
Am I getting kicked out? They just flashed the lights. Okay. All right.
They got the cane.
Was I getting too comfortable?
Yeah, no. I wanted to do that in case I forgot. Because I wanted everybody, you're not getting kicked out yet. Okay, the lights will start strobing and everything. Pete will start running in here and just grab me by the neck.
Yeah.
That won't last
securities
long.
will be coming. So, but yes. So,
okay,
but
great.
You can reach it there.
Amazon.
Yeah, it's
we'll put up a link
Amazon.
for you guys so you can check this
that.
out. I like it too. So for these people that can't read small writing, it has big font. So in 95, I'm kidding.
Yes.
That somebody.
An old person wrote it. I made sure it was big. I wanted to make it easy, seriously easy. And it's probably too long. It should have probably been cut in thirds because sometimes I go, why would I wouldn't even read a book though. The last time I read a book, I do audiobooks.
This is great.
But it's, I could have cut it in half. But anyway, yes, there'll be more to come. And there's lots of other stuff.
Thank you for hitting everything. We've got boundaries, we've got road rage, we have trust and building trust and avoiding common tricks and lures, which is also very big. So let's talk about you working in the police for the police. So basically you have been doing this for the Orange County Sheriff's Lieutenant. Yeah. So
as a reserve. So it's
25 years now. That's
it's a long time.
Very commendable. So are we allowed to talk about what kind of crimes that you're seeing more so of now?
No, I mean, I'm on a team that's a sheriff's response team that goes out for protests. Okay. I do share that with people because sometimes I have friends that are on the other side really heavily angry. And I said, listen, we're only there to make sure everyone can be safe. It's we're hoping for peaceful protests. That's all. I mean, we've had, especially in LA and then we had people yelling at us, cussing at us, and you're taking my parents and you're ICE, you suck. And I go, when we're in our heads, we're going, that's not us. We're here to make sure that the peaceful protesters get the voice, be a voice, get to advocate for themselves, where you get the other ones, usually later at night, come in and just want to toss bottles at the cops and throw rocks, which we've had. And, so that's where I feel like I can help. If I didn't feel good about it, I wouldn't do it, but I do feel good about the things we do. I feel like we're there at times when people really need you. I've done lots of different things over my years, that is including traffic accidents and pulling up on people and, DUIs and sexual assaults. And, you want to be that person that is just a calm voice and a protective or a protected aspect. So it's been very nice, and I like the agency. They're good because they value family and work because we do. I work full-time gig, and I have a 12 and 14-year-old, and so there's a lot going on with my life. And I remember my son, we were at an awards thing. He goes, Dad, why do all those people have way more hours than you? Because I do my hours, but nothing like some of these retired dudes or these guys who are just empty nesters. And I go, because I got you two taking all my time up.
You are my time.
This is
you
why.
And you.
Yeah, he has 1,300 hours. I got 300, but you give me 5,000. I should get 5,000 hours for you guys. But it's good. I mean, the crimes out there we're seeing, obviously we're ramped up for the protests, and hopefully they stay peaceful and people have, that's what we're about. This is freedom of speech, get to say it. But there are people, agitators, there's looters, who try and stir things up. And then the innocent people get hurt. And that's why I feel, like I said, those what's going on right now that we're seeing. So as we know.
Yeah, no, I know. I think it's quieting down a little bit. So we'll just keep everyone in our prayers, and hopefully everyone can just, figure it all out.
Yeah, hoping. So hopefully I'm going to go with maybe quieting down, but we'll see.
Yeah. That's me being hopeful. So,
but it's a bummer, right? I mean, we're just a lot of divide going on and a lot of sides. So, but we're not being political. Okay.
No, that's not political at all.
Helpful,
and that's where we go, woo. So I want to talk, before we do close the show, I would like to talk about just some safety tips for the workplace safety. So I know there are not a lot of programs in place for people in works situations, like maybe a real estate agent. Do you have some tips maybe that we can share with our viewers and listeners? I do have a lot of friends. I mean, everybody's a real estate agent, I believe.
Well, real estate is super tough, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because you are a male or female going into this isolated home, and you walk in there and you're waiting for people to walk in, or you get appointments. So my thing is, on appointments, you can probably, if you can find a buddy, take one, right? I know you can buy them lunch or a coffee and say, hey, just come with me to do this viewing. On an open house is if you can have an assistant there, so there's a couple people, because it's the deterrent, right?
Yeah.
We always talk about why the buddy system is important, because if you're walking down the street and there's two of you versus one, you look less as a target. Same thing if your head's down versus your head up. Those are all the things. So as a real estate agent, I would just make sure everyone knows where you're at. Make sure you don't put yourself in a situation. And if even the dream call comes in, hey, I'm approved for $8 million. I can do cash buy. Oh, let's do this, and it's like, okay, no, that's fine, but go there with people and make sure there's someone watching you, and having your cell phone ready, having your cell phone charged, making sure you know what area you're in. If you're in Irvine, I would recommend having Irvine PD on speed dial, the emergency line, not going to 911, just pressing 2, and it goes right to it. And obviously when you're calling, to not hang up until help is there. Even if you have to put your phone over there, they're going to try and send it. But the most important thing, which I will tell you, comes from going off the track like I always do, is the 911 aspect, right? People forget what they do, and so they start identifying themselves. Hi, I'm Stuart, and I'm a Gemini, and I need help, and blah blah blah. But the most important thing is your address. What do you want? It's a human basic need. What do we want to get out of this call? We want help. We want them there, right? So you give your address, or if you don't know your address, you give like landmarks or something. Those are the things. And it was funny because we just did this, and only 1% may have got that right. They're always thinking, I got to identify themselves, like especially in workplace. You think, I'm with Edison Company and I'm here and here. No one cares. They don't care. And we have a dispatch program. So we have some amazing dispatchers on staff that teach, and we've created a program for dispatchers. But they tell us, we don't care. We don't care what sign you are. We don't care where you're at. We just want to
6'3" and 3/4.
And 400 years old. And but anyway, so you want to make sure you give that information, and then you can say I need police interaction, or it's a medical emergency. Even if it's medical emergency and you get disconnected, right? Because cell service is not guaranteed, and GPS is not guaranteed. So it's, you get help there. Then even if it's a medical emergency and you wanted fire or something, cops will come, they can do a TAC med, and they can get fire there pretty quickly, like paramedics and things. So, so back to the real estate agent, have your phone ready, have your, make sure you got enough gas, make sure you know the area, make sure you know how to get out of there. Don't defend that house like it's yours, or even if it's yours. I always tell people, if someone's in your house, get the frick out of there, because it doesn't matter. We're going to fight for your home, just get out and get cops. So that's the same thing. Don't, and then always position yourself, know where the exit is if you need. And then, like we talked about, I'm safer, right? Integrated mindset, I'm walking in, I'm going to be my warrior mindset. I'm going to scan that person, I'm going to assess them continuously. Am I finding weird vibes? Trust your gut. That's the one thing I've had so many survivors say, oh, I really had a bad vibe about this person.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like it was, right? Like I had one saying, oh, it was like a Ted Bundy vibe. And I go, what happened? I go, well, I just thought I was being ridiculous. Who cares? Now, right?
Yeah.
Be ridiculous. Be overreacting. Oh, I've been watching too much Cops, or I've been watching too many shows or takedowns on the news. But it's okay to do that.
It is okay to do that. And I think that's great, because your gut instinct is your number one protector. And because that, as soon as that goes off, little spidey senses and it drops down, you're like, And
I've had people who had terrible gut instincts, but who cares?
Yeah.
I'd rather, I always get it wrong, but I'd rather, it's like betting $1 to lose or to win $1 million versus betting $1 million to lose $1. So you're wrong 1 million times. Who cares? It's fine. You'll get better at it, and you'll get understanding, because who knows what makes you feel weird, but it's something you need to trust, period.
Yeah, trusting that. And I love that too. Having enough gas just in life, in a situation, especially with protests or essentially maybe riots or anything like that, whatever state you're in, like country or state, having enough gas. If anything happens, making sure that you have water supplies, anything like that too. I mean, we don't know. There could be an earthquake. There could be.
Well, I always tell, and then also just the real estate example, be dressed comfortably. Yeah, I know you're dressing nice, but like you have boots on, but you can run in those things. Yeah. Versus heels, and same with guys. Make sure you're dressed, but have a pair of shoes in the car in case there's a breakdown, because at times you don't want to stay by your car. Have, like you said, the water. Make sure your car. Make sure you have water in the car. Your gas is full. Your car is maintenance wise, because pulling over on the side is a pain in the butt. So preventative measure is like, and I know nothing about fixing a car, so I'll go to hey, what do I need? And so he's like, well, you need a lot. I feel like I'm being taken, but all right, let's do whatever. But yeah, it's just fixing stuff. So
yeah, I mean, it's overall safety in life. And thank you so much for what you do. Thank you so much for the organization. If you don't know GetSafe, getsafe.usa, is that correct?
GetSafeUSA.com.
USA.com. Oh, see, he does know it.
I know my website. I don't know my handles.
And we're going to post all your handles up there for Instagram. We've got Stuart Haskin's book as well, and we want to make sure that you guys go check that out on Amazon and get your copy today. And I want to first and foremost just thank you for all that you do, and thank you for Get Safe and all your programs. I know you're out there big in the community. I always see you at the crime survivors events, and I know you're doing self-defense classes and all these beautiful classes that are empowering people and giving people skills and tools that they might not have had before. And, you're sharing this, your experience, your strength, and your hope with others. And I just want to thank you for your protection and what value you bring to this community and this world. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. And thank you again, what you're doing and putting a larger scope on it through your podcast and through your, continuing to be in the community as well, because it needs a big light. To come in and shine. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it comes in numbers and whatever we can do and be a part of it. So I feel blessed. I feel blessed to know you. And you get to pick whatever candle you want here today.
Candle? Oh my God.
So it does have a heart in it. I hope that,
Yeah, that's fine.
I can't really move because my pants are a size 0 today. And so this is my homemade candles. They're essential oils, and they're made by my friend Joanna, and we have a little crystal heart in these ones. And so you guys, if you want to pick up your candle, we've got Life Unleashed with TLC ones, TLC Unleashed, and also Serenity, Wellness, and Healing now. So Stuart's gonna take his candle, and you can light it and enjoy it, and so just be peace and calm, and
for about 4 minutes until my kids bug me. But I'll do that.
Stuart, you're awesome. Right. Not only like an empower and a protector, but also a very funny man. And we brought out the sunflowers, especially for him today. I don't know if you guys noticed. I'm sure you did.
Yes, there's a lot of them.
You guys check out GetSafeUSA.com. Check out Stuart's new book. And we are here every week on Life Unleashed with TLC on all the major platforms. So make sure you go like, subscribe, and share all the episodes so that people can learn and be educated and just have some fun, hopefully. So we'll see you next time. Thanks again. Thanks, Stuart.
Thank you
very
much.
She's a warrior, a survivor, and it's all because of God. She's a teacher and a healer, and it's all because of God. She's sassy, full of fire, with a heart that's made of gold. She will help you build your body, and it's so good for your soul.